Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to Solar Chat, where we interview key professionals and industry experts, dive into product reviews, tech talks, and the latest trends in the Australian solar market. Navigating the solar market has never been more confusing. With more brands available on the market than ever before, how do you wean out which product is best for your home? Hey guys, my name's Jackson Wire from SnapSolar and you're listening to Solar Chat. Today, I'm excited to invite a guest, Gus Pavani, the Asia Pacific for REC, a premium solar provider in our industry. And we're going to dig into this topic, all things solar panels. So, with no further ado, Gus, good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning, Jack. It's a pleasure to be here with you. Thank you for the invitation.
Mate, it's my pleasure. We've come a long way. We're currently filming in Sydney for you guys. So I hope you enjoy this podcast, guys. Gus, for our listeners, mate, let's dive straight into it. For those who may not know REC or may not have heard of REC, the brand, can you tell the listeners a little bit about REC, who they are, where they've come from?
Yes, of course. REC was born in Norway in 1996, and today is possibly one of the most established solar manufacturers in the world. We are headquartered in Singapore. Our manufacturing plants are in Singapore, so all panels we make and sell all over the world, including Australia, are coming from Singapore.
Beautiful. So a perfect option for those that are wanting to get away from something that Chinese built.
Correct. I think it's an alternative, and I believe that consumers also should look at REC, not necessarily just because it came from Norway or is made in Singapore now, but because of the company history and reputation. REC has been around for 28 years, possibly longer than most or any other solar manufacturer in the market right now. And it brings to consumers a level of expertise that is really unseen in the industry, a product that is, from my personal perspective, unmatched in terms of quality, and a level of innovation that is recognized worldwide.
On that recognition, in its 28 years of manufacturing, it's had a pretty beautiful kind of past. It's won a lot of awards, and it's brought a lot of technology to our industry.
Yes, correct. And many of those awards have been given to REC because of the innovation REC has made to changing our products, but the innovation we have brought to the industry itself, and parts of the technology that's available to the market today is partly because of REC has been pushing the boundaries. So many awards have been given to REC because of innovation. Many awards have been given to REC because of the recognition of the quality of the product, because of the outstanding customer service and support that we offer as well. And in Australia, we've been voted for the past two years as the best solar panel and best after-sales support by Australian installers. So that recognition also is great to see that the work that we've been doing over the years is slowly paying off, and is a testament of the quality consumers can experience with REC.
Yeah, and I'd like to dig into that to help people get a better idea of solar panels as a whole. There are companies that they're basically just an assembly company. REC is an end-to-end assembly, R&D. They're out to better the industry and bring new technology to the industry.
100%. And look, for most of REC history, REC was vertically integrated, which means we were making all components or most of the components of the solar panels in-house. So we had facilities in Norway, obviously manufacturing plant in Singapore, which makes the cells and the panels as well. So that level of expertise and that control of the quality and the processes and the components that are going inside the panel to actually make the panel give us a lot more confidence to talk about our product, and give us a lot more certainty about the outcome the customer will receive when getting a REC panel. And I think for the average consumer to understand what that means, I think in the end of the day, it means higher quality and higher reliability. And if we look at our statistics about warranties, for example, and the latest reports are showing that out of all panels we sell, only 1 out of 13,000 panels return as a warranty over 25 years. So you think about 13,000 panels, how many solar systems will that be? And perhaps maybe only one panel might return a warranty.
And I really want to emphasize that, Guy. 1 in 13,000. That's phenomenal.
Yeah,
that is phenomenal.
Yeah, it's a quite very low number. It's possibly, we are quite open to disclose those numbers, and we share that with installers. We share that with consumers as well. And I think the most important part is also the consumer is receiving a product that is robust, has been made to last, and also we provide a warranty that if you compare the warranties out there and you look at product warranties, we offer possibly one of the most comprehensive warranties in the market, and that includes product, performance, and labor warranty as well, which means if one of those panels would fail, we then would pay the consumer to pay SnapSolar to reinstall the panel without any costs.
And that warranties, when you start digging into them, panels ain't panels and warranties ain't warranties. You start digging into it and you find little things like if installed 500 within 500 meters of a sea line, your warranty's voided, and all these little things that consumers aren't aware of.
Yes, correct. We see many manufacturers putting a lot of disclaimers in the warranties, and that itself could be tricky from a consumer perspective, because consumers are not experts in solar energy, so they trust companies like SnapSolar to be able to educate them. And it's great to see that we have a strong alignment in terms of the way you guys want to operate, the quality you want to deliver to your customers, and that's really how REC, we share similar values.
I couldn't agree more. The values for us with REC are definitely aligned.
Yeah.
And even leaning on that into things like the Great Barrier Reef Foundation, the work that we're doing with them, and we want to put out products that are going to last. As simple as that.
And talking about that is a great initiative that you guys have done. And look, we also, from a company perspective and a product perspective, we try to be as sustainable as possible. We know that solar panels are great and are helping to reduce carbon emission, are helping to transition from fossil fuels to renewable energy. But we have to be conscious that some panels are also failing. They are failing before the end of life.
If I can jump into that, one thing that I've noticed, even in the last 5 years in industry, is technology for some manufacturers hasn't changed. They're still using TopCon, but somehow they've gone from 12 years to now, hey, this product's 25 years now.
Yes.
And we know that it's a cash grab to compete, because REC and premium providers have always had the upper hand with their warranties because they made a more superior product. They were offering their consumers a better warranty, and it was always the sell when you went in with an REC or another brand, a cheaper brand, let's call it, brand A, that may have had a 12, and we've just seen them bump that up over the years, but in my opinion, not necessarily change the technology.
Yeah, correct. I believe that's some marketing tactics that some companies try to use to make a product appear to be as equal to a more superior product like REC. And obviously, it's up to consumers to dig a little bit deeper and try to understand, if that warranty is worldwide, for example, if that warranty applies in the other countries, or it's just something a company is trying to do to win more market share in Australia. our warranties are worldwide warranties. So if you'd go to the US, Europe, Japan, and you are buying REC panel through an authorized installer like SnapSolar, all customers are eligible for 25-year warranty. They are eligible for the labor warranty reimbursement as well. So we don't make distinctions about which markets we give more or less warranty. We make a product to last
exactly that. You've done the R&D work. Again, you're not an assembly company. You're a company that invests lots of money into R&D to ensure these products are going to last the listed 25-year warranty. Ideally, you're not putting 25 years as end of life. You're probably got a little, these products are good for probably 30, 40 years.
Yes, of course. Yeah, all the warranties that we've given to consumers, they are in a certain level conservative. And even the performance, if you are talking about product now, you look at the degradation of our panels is possibly one of the lowest in the market right now.
To my knowledge, it is the lowest, yes.
Yeah, so if you look at an Alpha series panel, the degradation is 0.25 a year degradation. So if you buy a 10 kilowatt system today, REC will guarantee over 25 years 92% of that power output. In fact, it's more likely the panel will potentially deliver more than what we are offering as a warranty. So there is a buffer that REC keeps. And it is a great investment for the consumer because you are buying a product that is not going to be obsolete in 10 years' time. It's a product that is going to be relevant up to all the way to 25 years. And let's look at the market in the transition right now. Consumers are looking at battery storage. The electric car revolution is coming. So the electrification in the home is more and more important. And how is it possible that you're going to electrify the home and try to power it if the panels are degrading too fast? So you simply will have to reinstall a system in 10 years' time. And it really doesn't make sense from a sustainability point of view. It doesn't make sense from a financial point of view. So we make things for the long term.
Yes.
And if they are made for the long term, that's better for the environment as well because there are less parts.
We don't want to be it's not renewable if we're pulling panels off in 10 years and unfortunately landfill, or if we can get a decent recycling scheme going. But I want to dig into that, into the technology and into the innovation. Can you run the customers through, or our listeners through, what kind of things REC are doing to ensure that 25 years? Like, what would you be doing that these assembly companies or these other companies kind of skimping over to save a buck?
Yeah, look, and there are many things. Obviously, we can talk about hours and days, possibly about our
This is why
product.
I knew we'd wind you up but mate, here's your moment to shine.
But I will touch on a few parts, and we are talking about reliability, longevity. So let's talk about a few features of the panels that deliver better benefits to consumers. So one of them is our panels use a technology that's called solder-free. Solder-free technology. And I'm going to ask you a question now, Jack. Can you tell me roughly how many soldering points there are on average on a standard solar panel? Yeah.
Oof. I wasn't ready for this question, guys. I'm going to say it's in excess of 1,000.
Okay, so is between 5,000 to 7,000 soldering points.
Oh, okay, I was way off.
On
5,000 to 7,000 soldering points.
So you imagine every cell of the panel, those small squares, will have lines called bus bars, and every bus bar has roughly 5 soldering points per bus bar. So you multiply that, you get a huge number of soldering points. And every soldering point is a potential point of failure because think about the weather and think about a solar panel on a roof on a day when it's 35 degrees outside. The panel
40s in North Queensland, mate.
So the panel is going to be reaching 70 to 80 degrees in temperature. Those panels are really hot. You can fry an egg on top of them if you want on those hot days.
Hey, there's one for the viewers. I think
Yeah.
the next one, Jacko, our cameraman, I think we should fry an egg on a solar panel.
Yeah. And what happened, the panel, in all those soldering points, they become very fragile because the cells itself are quite thin and they are very fragile. So all those soldering points becomes potential point of failure. And a potential point of failure means the panel will essentially not perform as expected or essentially stop operating at some point in time. And that's something we see quite often.
So that's 5,000 to 7,000 potential fail points within a standard panel.
Within a standard panel, and those soldering points, they could crack even on the transport of a solar panel before it actually gets on the roof or on the day of the installation if the installer is not careful.
Rough handling, absolutely.
And drop a tool or lean over the panel and put a little bit of weight, it could potentially crack one of those cells. So we created this solder-free technology in our panels, and the solder-free technology essentially eliminates the soldering between the cells. So in the total panel on Alpha series, there is only about 340 soldering points.
340
soldering
340
points.
From 7,000.
From 7,000. So
what black magic are you guys using over at REC?
Yeah, obviously REC doesn't actually disclose exactly how that is done and the technology, but it's called solder-free technology, and that gives to the product a lot more reliability and reduces the risk of a potential micro cracking and potential loss of energy caused by micro cracking. So that's only one level of innovation that separates REC from other products in the market. There are other levels of innovation. For example, the cell technology is called heterojunction. And heterojunction is kind of the latest cell technology you can find in the market right now. So there has been an evolution of technologies, and there has been, what's the most popular recently was called PERC.
Which consumers, customers are still probably of the understanding that there's PERC and mono, and I don't think they realise how far we've come since those days.
And you go from PERC mono, and then the TopCon. RSC was making TopCon many years ago, and we went through that wave, and possibly most of the industry now is catching up and trying to bring TopCon to the market, where we actually have gone through that phase, and we invested heavily in what's called heterojunction cell technology. So that's another level of innovation. To manufacture a solar panel using heterojunction cell technology, it creates a lot of complexity in the manufacturing process. So you need a factory, you need staff, you need processes that are much more accurate. You need a lot more precision.
Can you dive into that? For a lot of the listeners, heterojunction technology is probably just gone over their head. What's a basic way to explain it? What's a basic form of heterojunction technology?
Heterojunction technology would be almost to consider to, let's say, a hybrid car, because it's a hybrid solar technology. So if you think about a hybrid car, you are running two technologies in one. You have a battery and you have petrol, and combining both, the engine is going to be running on either one or another. So with heterojunction, we also combined two separate technologies. We combined something that was called thin film, or amorphous silicon is the technical name. And that technology was very popular back in the days, in the 80s, 90s, because the technology was more flexible, was very light, and the technology had the advantage of perform really well under low light. And low light is something that most people think low light, they think about a cloudy day, but most people don't realize that low light is something that occurs every day, at least twice a day.
Yeah, dusk and dawn.
Correct. So a solar energy system is affected by low light every single day. So the heterojunction cell technology has the combination of the thin film, which performs well under low light, and a wafer, an N-type wafer, which then has a lower degradation, has no what's called light-induced degradation, which is something that could affect a system when first exposed to sunlight. So the combination of those two technologies is what's called heterojunction. Heterojunction is also a shorter manufacturing process. So if you think about you're going to make a cake, and a solar panel is the cake, a traditional solar panel needs 15 steps until you actually get
Produce the product. Yep.
produce the product.
Yep.
Where heterojunction is only 7 steps.
Wow.
So it's much quicker to
Well, you
make.
don't have 7,000 solders to do for a start.
Well, you produce the soldering, and then
Yeah.
a lot has gone away. But is really the manufacturing process is more advanced. Obviously, the machinery, the equipment is newer, and a barrier for many companies to invest in that is actually having the equipment or having the expertise to actually manufacture the panel itself. So REC is ahead of the curve. Our technology is 5 to 10 years ahead of the average.
What are the average solar manufacturer is doing?
Yeah, and let's be honest, when you talk about technology, I don't think consumers walk into the store asking, well, can you sell me the oldest solar panel you have, or the oldest mobile phone, or the oldest computer? We all want the latest.
Yes.
We want the best, because technology can become obsolete quite quickly. So if you don't buy something,
especially in our industry, it moves quickly. Yep.
So you need to look for something that is innovative. You need to look for something that is cutting edge, which is really the latest. And really, a heterojunction is in my view, the best you can possibly buy right now.
Oh, phenomenal, mate. You've done a fantastic job at explaining that and explaining the technology. I am interested to hear your thoughts on the Australian market. Being head of the Asia Pacific division, you get to see a lot of different markets, the Japan market, the Thailand market. I'm interested to see your thoughts on the Australian market and your opinion of what do you think the next few years for Australia looks like?
Yeah, okay, great. Look, Australia is a highly developed solar market in the world. Per capita, there are more installations done here than anywhere else, especially in the residential side. So a very well-established market. We've seen the utility scale taking off a few years ago, and the commercial and industrial space is also, growing quite steadily. And the next evolution or the next wave in the Australian market is the combination of solar and batteries. And that's driven primarily because of the amount of solar energy that is already present, and the amount of energy that is generated during the day, when sometimes there isn't even enough consumption for all that energy. So one part of battery storage is to offset that energy generation and store that for daytime consumption. The other part of battery storage is backup. We have a quite massive, quite a big geographical area in Australia, which also puts a lot of pressure on the grid itself and the infrastructure. So having that backup can, especially when we have storms, and our weather is also not the easiest in the world. So having that backup in parts of the country is becoming more and more relevant. We went through bushfires. We went through a lot amount of rain that caused storms, and people were without power for days in certain regions. So I think it's becoming, the technology is available now and is affordable, is accessible. So we are seeing that that trend where people want that energy independence. They want a little bit more control. And obviously the next wave is the electrical car revolution that most car manufacturers have announced electric cars. They are phasing out petrol engines, which means most of us will be driving electric cars in the future. Obviously, there are pockets of the country that perhaps
the uptake will be naturally slower.
Yeah,
and location and
so obviously metro areas and cities that are a little bit more developed, more urban areas will have a higher uptake. So that's primarily. I think Australia is even in the battery space is ahead of the curve again.
Okay.
We've seen some countries like Norway, possibly, and you see some European countries, the US and China, where electric cars are, possibly a little bit more evolved. But we also have, a really strong solar residential market, which will make the uptake of battery storage possibly, faster than other markets. So I would definitely recommend consumers to, if they are getting solar now, even if they are not getting a battery storage, for them to consider what changes will happen in the household when they decide to have an electric car or when they decide to put a battery storage. And the solar panel becomes crucial in that point, because what we are seeing is some people that are moving ahead with the energy independence, and they want to have 2 electric cars at home, and they want to basically be almost self-sufficient. They realize that they need between 15 to 20 kilowatts of solar panels on their roof, and possibly 1 to 2 batteries to be able to achieve that.
Yep.
And when you look at the average size, roof size in Australia, not many roofs can actually have that space. So investing in a technology that will maximize the roof space is important. Investing in a technology that has low degradation is very important. Yep. Because even if you put 15 kilowatts of solar panels on the roof today, but the technology is degrading really fast, in 10 years' time, you've lost almost 10% of your energy. So, you lost 10% of your system. So the lower the degradation of the panels, the better the reliability of your system generation as well. So, those are the features that if you look at our product, we have a lower degradation, the panels will perform better under hot days, which means then if you compare with the average panel, well, then you possibly would have to install more of the other panels to compensate for the energy losses they have.
Exactly, yeah.
So, in the end of the day, in my view, is possibly the best investment a consumer can make over the long term. Is obviously a little bit more expensive, but, for anything that is so much better, I think the price gap is still...
The price gap is no.
Very affordable.
And I think it for consumers, it appears expensive. It appears expensive when you got the quotes side by side, until you get the understanding of what comes with a product like REC. They're not apples for apples, and you are getting a product that's going to return you. Let's face it. If you're going to invest into shares or you're going to invest into housing, we don't go always for the cheapest house or the cheapest share that we got, because we know that the good shares and the good houses generally come at a little bit high price.
Yeah, 100%. And they give you better returns. They give you more security, more stability.
Absolutely.
So all of that is part of an investment consideration. And, the experience we have is that the people that invest in REC never regret. They always have,
They're repeat customers. We've had customers buy REC, move to new properties, and return REC customers.
Yeah, 100%. And especially where you are in a region where the environment can be quite tough. There is a lot of humidity. There is a lot of heat. It could rain a lot, and there is a lot of wind as well.
Potential for cyclones, things like that.
Yeah. So all of that are conditions that will impose more challenges for the product, and will make that technology suffer more than the average place on Earth. And that's really how our panels have been designed to. And if you look at, if the consumer has the option to look at our solar panels, at the rear of the panel, there are 2 support bars.
Yes.
And possibly the only panel you're going to find in the market with 2 support bars at the rear. And why do we put those support bars? The reason why is to strengthen the panel to make it stronger. So when SnapSolar is putting that panel on the roof, that technology, is more flexible in terms of how you attach the panel to the roof. So you have more attachment points. The cells, because of the support bars, the cells, they have more stability. We obviously don't have soldering. We spoke about that, but the cells are more flexible as well. So if you combine all of those reliability advantages of REC, the support bar, the flexible cells, the solder-free technology, you start understanding why the panel is made to last, why the panel is more robust. And then you combine that with the performance advantages that we just spoke about. We spoke about low light performance, heat tolerance, low degradation. As you said, when you compare side by side, you need to put another, you know, if you're going to put 10 kilowatts of REC, you possibly need to upsize the other system to be able to deliver the same amount of energy, and you might not even get to the end of life in the same way.
Or you may be looking at replacement at half life of what you see out of an REC.
Yeah, and all of that will cost more money. So in the end of the day, I believe for the wise investor, for the wise consumer that is looking a little bit more carefully, is trying to understand the details of the product, is trying to understand what they are getting, they will find out that is a much better option than the average. And what appears to be more expensive is actually, in my view, actually cheaper.
A better investment.
Yeah.
Which it is, at the end of the day, it's an investment. So you've really kind of answered my next question, which was if you had some advice for customers, consumers who were had two quotations, or they were looking into products, doing their product research, what would be your advice for them, helping to weigh up whether REC is the right product for their home?
Yeah, and look, I think they really need to start by talking to a company like SnapSolar, and the reason why we engage with you guys is because of the values you have as well. And we, as you know, we went through training with the team, so the team is qualified. SnapSolar is a certified solar professional that then is eligible for the extended warranty of REC panels. Not every installer in the market will have that certification. Correct. Not everyone is going to be able to offer the extended warranty. And we actually, partner with the companies that, have those qualities and those values in place, because we know that that's a better outcome for the consumer. We know that for a fact, because we are engaging with a company like SnapSolar, you're going to be more careful in the installation process, and therefore there will be less risk of a warranty claim. So it's not only the product that is important to us, it's the process and how we are delivering the technology.
Start to finish process, yes. Absolutely.
Yeah. So this is my recommendation to consumers, is really start by talking to the right company. Look at the products they are offering, look at the history of the company, how they've been operating.
And good companies always advise and direct customers towards good products. And I guess for me, what a message I'd like to get out with this podcast is understanding that there is a lot of manufacturers on the market. There's a lot of product on the market, and it can be overwhelming and confusing. So I guess understanding the difference between a manufacturing company who's simply an assembly company buying container loads of cells and just slapping things together, or a premium provider like REC who are building their products, they're putting the fine polish on, they're doing the R&D, they're looking at how can they make a product today better tomorrow, so to speak.
100%. And that's really the core of our business.
Consumer wins. At the end of the day, a company that's doing those little bits and tweaking those little bits, the only winner is the consumer.
100%. 100%. And that's the whole reason why we invest so much in the product development, is because of the consumer. They are the reason for our business.
They are the heartbeat of the business. Without the consumer, we don't have a business.
No, we don't have a business.
That's correct. Oh, mate, fantastic. Well, Gus, that's been fantastic. Thank you for joining us on the show today, mate. I will like to throw 5 quick questions at you, mate.
Okay, let's do it.
A quick fire round.
Yeah.
So, mate, what was the most exciting sustainability trend in solar right now?
Well, look, is a very interesting topic, and I think is a quite broad question, so we can go so many ways. But when we are talking about solar energy, I think the topic that most people might not even be aware is really modern slavery. I think that's what has been possibly on the back end of a lot of people's minds. And modern slavery is something that consumers might not be aware, but even in our industry, parts of the industry are affected by by this issue. And REC, we implement processes and procedure and policies in place to ensure that the company is possibly provides the benchmark in what we could potentially deliver to consumers in terms of ethical production and how we source our products and how we manage the people that are involved, not just in making the panels, but making all the components that are going into the solar panel. So we have quite strict policies in terms of the components that we procure and where those components come from to ensure that we are delivering something to the consumer that is as transparent as it can possibly be. So that's possibly one of the biggest trends and things that the industry is going through now in sustainability. There are other things as well. For example, REC is constantly pushing the boundaries in terms of sustainability. This year we received the EcoVadis Silver Medal, which is a global certification that takes into consideration company-wide practices and policies, and it goes through from we are talking about the procurement in energy, gender equality. So is a quite broad assessment of company approach to sustainability, and we are very grateful to achieve this certification. So in terms of product, we reduce as much as we possibly can of lead from our panels. So the latest panels now, they are 89% free of lead. So
and just to touch on that, what parts of a traditional panel would be made up of lead? So when you help the consumer understand what parts have you replaced of that panel to remove the lead?
One of the parts is actually the soldering. So eliminating the soldering is actually improves the reliability of the panel and also improves the
lead.
The sustainability of the panel as well. Obviously, is a quite challenging step that a manufacturer needs to take, because you have to change your manufacturing process, you have to change your technology, you have to change your procurement, and that's a barrier when if a manufacturer is just trying to win at the low possible cost. But when you are trying to make something that's going to be more robust, more reliable, more sustainable, is a no-brainer. And that's the benefit, and that's the beauty, because those solar panels will be on the roofs for 25 plus years, and we really want them to last as long as possible, because the longer they last, the better for the environment as well.
Absolutely. That's great stuff, mate. I'm glad you touched on the slavery and the sustainability. If you weren't in the solar industry, Gus, what would you be doing?
Well, man, look, I'm passionate about the environment, and I had a few different careers. I've been in the solar industry for 15 years now, so it's very difficult to think of any other thing really to do. I'm quite passionate about the environment as well. I'm a surfer, I love the ocean. So I possibly, if I wasn't necessarily working where I am right now, I possibly would be involved in some level of environmental project or something that would, in a way, give back to nature, all that we have taken so far. I think we all, were born in this world, and, things were set, and everything is as it is right now. We learn things like consumerism, and is something that perhaps we need to re-educate ourselves. But I possibly would try to continue to do something that would give back to nature, and possibly try to minimize the impact I make on this world.
I love that, mate. Yep. What a great goal, and I can see why you align so well, even as an individual, with REC.
Yes, I think the values are there, and look, the products, are made to last. The products are robust. The company values are aligned, and really that's something very important to me personally as well. So I just hope be able to continue on this journey as long as possible.
Mate, I love that. We'll be right there with you, Gus. Especially with yourself, as passionate as you are about the brand, and REC on their mission with sustainability.
Sounds good.
So, Gus, mate, what a pleasure! What an absolute pleasure to have you on the show, mate. So, thank you for joining us, guys. This was Gus Pavani, the REC Asia Pacific division rep. So he's a busy man. He's taken a lot of time out today to join us on this podcast, mate. So thank you. I hope you, the viewers, got some gold out of this. And we look forward to hopefully having you on in the near future, mate, with all of the exciting things that REC have up and coming for 2025, 2026.
Sounds great.
And mate, I look forward to an exciting 2025 ahead.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. It has been a great experience, and I'm very grateful for the invitation. So thank you again.
No, it is my pleasure. Guys, for those of you that are interested or want to find out more about the REC brand, or if REC is the right fit for your home, get in touch with the team at SnapSolar. We're located in Caloundra and we're located in Mackay in Paget. So reach out, guys. We'll be happy to help you out. Till the next one, stay tuned. This is Jackson Wire from Solar Chat.